welcome to Beyond the Paw. Today we have Blackmon Huckabee with us, who is a wide receiver on the Clemson football team. He has tried out for American Idol and is also looking to try out for some other national singing shows. He sang the National Anthem before a football game in front of 80,000 people, and he also just sang the National Anthem for the Orlando Magic, and also at our Gymnastics 101 event. Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Can we just get some background on you, where you're from, what made you come to Clemson, everything about that?
Yeah, so I'm from Rock Hill, South Carolina, and then ended up moving to Clover, South Carolina because my mom's job, so that's where I went to high school. And I've been a Clemson fan my entire life, and this is where I always wanted to be, but that's kind of not how it happened initially. When I was in middle school and high school, Clemson was winning national championships left and right and had a lot of dudes out there doing it that, don't necessarily look like me and aren't, my size or whatever. Not that I'm crazy small, but just, they have really top tier athletes. And I was kind of figuring, in my recruiting process and how everything was going, that Clemson wasn't going to be one of those schools. And so I kind of wrote it off a little bit, but, kept my fandom or whatever in it and always followed and whatnot. But I ended up committing to Furman University out of high school, which is a smaller Division I school, really, really great place. And I really did enjoy it. But there was always a part of me that really wanted to be here. And that was in 2020 when everything was super weird. It was like, school wasn't school. And we everything was online and you couldn't really, interact with people around you. And everything was so weird. Even recruiting was really weird. You couldn't, talk to schools in the same way. They couldn't bring on as many people. I don't know. It was a really weird thing. And every single day when I was over there, I just felt like, I wanted to be a part of something bigger and I wanted to take a chance. And I ended up deciding after reading my 5th grade letter to myself that said I was going to be a quarterback at Clemson, that I was just going to try to come here. And I had no connections here whatsoever. I'd never even come to camp here as a, high schooler or anything, because I was like, I'm not going to go to Clemson. It's just not going to happen. And I just decided to enter the portal. Could have stayed at Furman and had a really great career there, I'm sure. But something just told me this is what I need to do, and I entered it blindly. And I just decided, like, all right, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen. And so I went on the catalog online where you can see all the staff members, and I tried to find somebody's email I could reach out to. And I ended up finding Mike Dooley, who's the director of operations over there. And I emailed him 1 million times. I was like, hey, this is who I am. You're not going to look at it, but whatever. And he finally emails me back at some point. And he's like, all right, here's a tryout date. And I was like, okay, I got my tryout date. I've got all summer. I'm going to do whatever I can to make this happen. And so I created my own nutrition plan, my own training plan and everything. I stuck to it like crazy. I wasn't even eating any food after 8 o'clock. All my friends were sitting there eating pizza and stuff. Hanging out. I'm just around them. I was just like, no, I'm committed to this. I'm going to make sure when it's all said and done, I did everything I possibly could to make this happen. And showed up for the first tryout. There's 2 of them, and that process is pretty crazy. There was over 100 people there.
Oh my gosh!
Wow. Especially a ton of receivers, because the average looking person is going to be about my height and whatever. So there's a ton of guys coming out for receiver, and I felt like I had the upper hand on them. Obviously playing Division I ball at first and everything, but first tryout I went out there, ran really well. Second one I'm out there running routes, and I'm doing pretty well against whoever's out there and whatnot. And Coach Swinney comes up to me. I'm wearing a number 37 jersey or something, which is what I figured I'd probably be wearing if I made the team, some crazy, awful receiver number like that. I got a little bit better with 25. That's fine. But he was like, 37, run this route or whatever. Comes up to me. And I'm like, oh, it's Coach Swinney. He's coming up to me I really hope I can do well right here. And I end up doing that. And they call me a few days later and say that I made it. So everything went well. But I was going in with the mindset of, it's kind of a do or die situation, because if I don't make it, I guess I'm going to be a normal student, probably join a frat. That's not even my personality at all, but I'm I guess that's what I'm going to have to do. Mm-hmm. But the way that I prepared for it and the mentality that I had going into it was not going to allow that to happen. And so luckily everything happened exactly how it was supposed to, and or how I dreamed of it happening. And now I'm in a great situation now. So.
That's awesome. And what does that mean to you? Like, you did it. You got yourself here, and you took a chance on yourself, and you did all the right things. You committed to it, and it worked out.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely committed to it. I mean, it was all in God's plan, truly. I know I couldn't do that alone. But it obviously means everything to me. To be at this school, I'm a kid from the upstate of South Carolina. Like, I've been watching Clemson my entire life. My family's Clemson fans. To actually be here and to be a part of something like so crazy awesome and just so much bigger than myself is like, I mean, it's actually a dream come true. It's what I always wanted. And so to be able to live that out every single day is really awesome.
You said you were a Clemson fan since as long as you can remember. How did that kind of start? Was it someone in your family?
Yeah, I mean, my family's huge with Clemson. My mom's side, there's a little bit of like Gamecock over there, but we're Clemson fans through and through. That's all I've ever known. I don't even really like have an NFL team. I guess you could say the Panthers.
Yikes.
That's tough.
Sorry about it.
I mean, it's kind of hard to be a Panthers fan, but my team's always been Clemson, and that's what all I've ever really known. Since I started liking football, I started wearing 23 because I think at the time the running back was Andre Ellington, and that's when they had Sammy Watkins and Tosh Boyd and DeAndre Hopkins and all those guys, and like that's what I was introduced to when I learned about football, which was when I was in like, I don't know, 4th, 5th grade is when I started actually playing. I was a gymnast forever. That's what I actually did. Yeah, I was pretty good. I was like a level 9. It goes like 10 before it gets like, real deal. But I was like, that's all I did. And I decided I was going to be good at football one day because I'm from Rock Hill and that's like Football City, USA. It's supposed to like, there's a ton of NFL players that have come out of there. I was at recess one day and no one was covering me. No, I always got picked like last on the team. Like sometimes even after some of the girls, because like I didn't play sports. I only played, I mean, not saying that gymnastics is not a sport, but it's not like a ball sport. So I wasn't, that's just not something that I did. And they blew the whistle at recess. Everybody's walking in. They throw the ball up to me to get the game-winning touchdown. I'm not even paying attention. Oh, there's a ball. Drop it. I got bullied all day. So I was like, okay, I'm going to learn how to catch a football. Like, I'm going to be the best football catcher in this entire school. And I was out in the street every single night making that happen with my stepdad at the time. And, I mean, maybe that's like kind of translates into how I approach everything now. Like that's just an example of the type of mindset that I've had my entire life, which is like, okay, I'm not where I want to be right now. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. And I mean, for all that to lead to me being here is pretty crazy.
What were you doing in gymnastics? Like, because I know men's events are slightly different.
Yeah. I mean, I did all the events. I think my best probably rings or high bar, but
oh wow, that's crazy.
I mean, I think I was pretty good. I mean, I don't know. I typically won, but I mean, there's not a ton of guys doing that.
The strength
I definitely think it
takes.
helped me like so much as an athlete. Like I was able to learn skills, like
body
in
awareness.
sports and your body control and like especially like catching a football, like when it's thrown behind you, whatever. Like I mean, I was definitely able to pick up on that a lot faster than I think the other people around me. And I was a quarterback my entire life. We had like a triple option offense. So it was kind of like you run the ball more than you throw the ball. And I didn't switch to receiver until like my sophomore year, in the middle of my sophomore year, maybe. And I think like, maybe all the skills that I had and like my commitment to the weight room and like all that other stuff probably helped me make that transition pretty smooth. But yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of stuff. I'm really a basketball player at heart. I love basketball a lot more than I love football, but that's a conversation for another day.
Do you still play basketball a lot?
When my legs aren't failing me, yeah, but they fail me recently. So
Football, 80,000 fans. You were singing in front of them. How did that feel? I can't even imagine going. I'm a terrible singer. I don't even sing in the
sweating
shower.
just thinking about it right now.
But then to like stand on the field and I guess, you play like in front of fans, so maybe that's not different. But to be the only person making noise in that stadium, what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, when you're down there actually standing, it doesn't look as big as you think it does, or at least as big from the stands. I mean, I spend a lot of time coming to games, and it looks a lot crazier when you're sitting wherever you are than when you're actually down there. And really probably just because of like, you're just so locked in typically. Even if you're like not on the field, you're just kind of like, you're not really paying attention to what else is going on. But I mean, honestly, I was just talking to Jeff Davis the Paul Journey director over at the football facility today. And I think that what I've always wanted to do since I was a kid was to be an artist. That's what I felt like. That's what I was best at always. I was always best at singing. I've known I can do it for like a really long time. I didn't break it to anybody in the building until maybe like last March or so when I had my first injury. But I mean, when I was standing out there, we had rehearsed it maybe 2 or 3 times after in some evenings, like a couple weeks before. But when I was finally out there and I looked up, I was thinking like, okay, I'm probably going to be nervous. I didn't warm up with the team or anything that day. I was in the locker room by myself, just kind of pacing around. And I was just kind of like, okay, this is probably gonna, like, don't shake, man. Like, don't like quiver or anything. Like, you got to nail this. This is probably the biggest crowd you're ever going to sing in front of in general. Like, I mean, concerts don't have 80,000. I've never even been to a concert, but concerts, I don't think, have 83,000 people in it.
Yeah.
And so I just went out there, and when I looked up, when I finally stood out there and they put me in place, I looked up and I was like, okay, this is what this is going to look like. It's not going to change. Like, just be in this moment and like own this moment. And part of me is when I'm out there and I'm doing that, it's like, this is what I always dreamed about. Like, I'm always dreamed about being at Clemson and playing football here. But like, aside from that, this was like my main dream that I wanted. And like, I finally have everyone sitting here, paying attention to me, watching me do what I really love to do the most. And I feel like that was like a moment to me that I can't explain it, but it was like a peace came over me. It's not like there's no nerves when you feel like you're doing what you were like born to do.
Yeah.
And so it honestly wasn't that bad. And I say that to people and they don't believe me, but like I was not nervous in that moment. Maybe because I'd repped it like anything with practice, but like I don't know, that's when I feel like I'm being the most myself. And so that doesn't ever bother me to just sing. I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's a time and place. I hate when people are like, oh, can you just sing something right now? It's like, I mean, I can. I will do that if you really want me to, but like time and place, man. Like, come on, like,
That's awesome.
How did you get into singing?
Well, initially my sister was the singer of the family. She did like all the like talent shows or whatever. And everybody always like, it's like, oh my God, she's so good or whatever. And I'm like her little brother, 2 years. We're really close, so like 2 years apart. And I'm like, well, I don't like that everybody thinks she's so good. Like, why can't I be good too? And I started singing, and people were like, oh, he's really good too. And then it became not like a competition, but it was kind of like, oh my God, my little brother is always doing everything I'm trying to do. Like, it kind of became like that. And that's probably what initially got me into it. But it got to the point where I was like, I don't remember what scenario I ended up watching this, but we ended up watching the Justin Bieber Never Say Never movie. Have y'all seen that?
Yeah.
You know how he said he got,
Yeah.
how he posted on YouTube and he got like noticed by like Scooter Braun or whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, I was like, okay, like I want to get noticed. I would like go walk my dog and like be singing as loud as I can with my headphones in, like around my neighborhood, hoping that like the next talent manager of the century lives in my neighborhood in Rock Hill, South Carolina. So it got to that point where I was like, okay, like maybe I can, I don't know, like maybe this is something that I really want to do. And I always enjoyed music. And I looked for any opportunity that I could to like, sing, but it wasn't really that big of a deal ever. But when we moved to Clover, like Rock Hill is like a football city. Like it's literally coined Football City, USA. We moved to Clover. Everyone like sing, like they have like everyone sings there. I don't even know how to describe it. I can't sit there and describe it to you without it sounding like High School Musical.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like a musical.
That's actually kind of what it was like. I mean, no one was sitting there singing in the cafeteria, but and dancing.
You don't like slide head first in the cafeteria?
It was
like
never
break out the song?
that. No, it was never that. But like the like what's it called, like chorus or whatever in middle school has like 1,500 kids in it or something, and then like the high school, yeah, it's crazy between like the 3 grades,
wow,
6th, 7th, 8th, and then in high school there's like an audition, like only like 110 people can make it, and it's like they would like win the state championship every year, and like but like it wasn't weird because it was like all the athletes did it, like it was a whole group of like athletes that were all so talented.
Cool.
And so, I mean, we would go to football practice, or they'd go to soccer, or they'd go to whatever. And then we would go straight to a rehearsal and we would work on stuff like that. We had a huge auditorium for like no reason. I don't know why, but we had a huge one. And they, I guess 15 or 20 years ago, they asked the director, who was like one of my best friend's dads, really cool. Like not like the director in High School Musical, like just a normal, like pretty awesome guy. And, they said, can he fill it out? And like ever since then, there's been like shows that they do every single year. And so like, that's just what we did. And that was like a normal thing. And I didn't really know anything else. I'm like, oh, okay, this is what all the cool kids do. Like my sister did it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it too. And like, I don't know, I guess that just kind of I started to like I was one of the better people in that, and I guess I got more opportunities to go and sing and do stuff. I mean, the first time I sang the national anthem was with like 3 other dudes at like a couple of the high school state championship games or whatever, cool. In Columbia. So like it wasn't my first time ever doing it, but it was my first time ever doing it alone. I'd never actually done it by myself. But I mean, we just were all, I mean, that was a normal thing. I was always singing. So I realized like pretty quickly, I was like, okay, I'm pretty good at this. Like, I don't know. I've never thought about it like, okay, I want to be an artist, of course, but like, what does that even mean? Like, I'm a kid from South Carolina. Not a lot of people from South Carolina go to the entertainment industry, let alone art. Like, I don't even know how to go about that. And whenever I got more serious in football, I kind of was like, I'm going to put that on the back burner a little bit. Like, I mean, that's not really what I'm focused on anymore. And like, that was something that was really special to Clover High School, that group. But like, that's not real life. And that's not really like in my day to day. So like, I guess I'm just going to let it go and just kind of have that talent. And if I guess, I don't know, someone ever asked me to do it, I'd be like, oh, that's a cool talent. Like if I was like, just like I can like do a backflip whenever I want, oh, cool talent, whatever. But it didn't, start to become real for me until I had my first injury. And that was a little bit of backstory on that. It was like, at that time, it was my second season here. So it was my third year of football, but my second season here. And I had gotten to the point where I'm like a pretty respected guy on the team. I'm like always top in accountability. I'm a walk-on, so you got to do everything like over the top to even gain respect from anybody. But I was always really involved in all the Paul Journey stuff, like all the community service stuff, like trying to find any way that I can make my name be at the top of a list. Like if it was voluntary and I was able to like do that and always show up in a positive way, like I was doing that. Especially being like a guy that came in through a tryout. I mean, like you're on like the lowest of the bottom of the totem pole when you really look at it like that. And I got to the point where I was like number one in accountability. I'm like the all-time leader in the recovery uses in Clemson football history. Like I'm doing everything that I can possibly do to stand out, but I'm not really like fulfilled in it because I feel like I'm just blending in. Like when you're doing all that stuff, you have the respect of your teammates, and that's awesome. Like you want that. Everybody wants that. But it's like, now I'm just known as the dude that's just like always doing the right thing, which is good, but it's like, that's it, And like, and you don't get a ton of opportunities being a walk-on to play in general, especially at a place like this, where I mean, we're expected to be in the playoffs. Like that's our standard. And so, as a person who's never been able to be anywhere and not stand out, like just existing, that's not something that I'm really good at. Like I was a captain on my team in high school. I was a captain on my team in middle school. I've been in the center of it in leadership positions for like the longest time. I'm not saying you can't lead from a lower position as in like a guy who's not a starter. Like you absolutely can. But I just always am looking to like, okay, there's got to be more I can do. And I really realized that whenever I had this first injury. Crazy injury. I was in a scrimmage. I got hit. Thought everything was fine. Like it kind of hurt, but I mean, got up, was going to keep scrimmaging and did. I kept going. And then overnight, I woke up in like the craziest pain. Honestly, I went up to go to the bathroom and I fell down off my bed. And my whole leg was just crazy swollen from my knee down. And I thought my roommate had just torn his ACL, Troy Stellato. And I was like, oh my God, I tore my ACL. Like my leg really twisted on that hit, and everybody on the sideline was like, oh God. Like they really thought I tore my ACL. And so I was like, oh my God, I tore my ACL. I'm about to be out. Like this is awful. I can't work out. Like I'm going to look terrible. and I also can't walk right and all that stuff, whatever. But it ended up being something even crazier. I called Michael Tang, who had been here for like a week. He's one of the trainers. He'd just come from Kansas City Chiefs. And I called him. I was like, something's wrong. Like, it's bad. I think I tore my ACL, whatever. He's like, okay, I'm coming. It's like 4 a.m. And comes and gets me, and he's like, okay, you didn't tear your ACL. And I'm like, okay, that's really good. He's like, well, no, not necessarily. We need to go to the ER right now. And I was like, what's wrong with me? He's, nothing. Let's just go to the ER. And I go, and I end up having something called compartment syndrome, which is like internal bleeding inside of the muscle. So like basically the fascia that is like the protective membrane around the muscle didn't pop, but the muscle on the inside ruptured. So my leg was just expanding like the blood, and it was suffocating on itself to the point where, I mean, I couldn't feel anything from below my knee. Like I couldn't feel my toes, my shin. And Dr. Martin comes in, he's like, okay, like we have to have surgery right now. Like they didn't have time to shave my leg, like none of that. So they cut me open in four different spots on my leg. Ends up being a successful surgery. And I mean, everything's fine or whatever, but I'm like, you know, I'd never had surgery before, and I didn't have time to think about it, and I didn't have time to like really process what was going on. And I was kind of joking with them afterwards. I was like, I started Googling it, and like I saw that like you could get your leg amputated or whatever. They're like, no, yeah, like you were really close to getting your leg amputated. Like, and I still can't. How much my leg was actually suffocating, I can't feel my shin anymore. Like that nerve damage is like most likely never going to come back. So like I'm touching my shin right now, I can't feel it. And so that big of an injury to where like no one had ever, I think Dr. Martin had seen it, but like I don't think anyone on the training staff had ever seen anything like that before. So like, and it's like a less than 1% chance of even happening. And so it was just kind of like, dang, man, like I've worked really hard, and I felt like I had some momentum going, and like I feel like I've built a really good like name here and everything. I think I'm rolling, and then something like that happens, and you're like, dang, like that really sucks. And that was in the same time where I was feeling like not fulfilled already, and I was like, all right, for some reason right now I'm just gonna start posting videos on the internet. Like that's just what I'm gonna do. Like I feel like I want to. Any dream, which I never really wanted to go to the NFL, and it was very unlikely being in this position anyways, but it's not ever anything I wanted, but like it wasn't going to happen now, not after this. Like, I mean, it just there was no way, like breaking the momentum of anything I had going on, like the chances of me being like a player, no shot. Like, I don't want to say no shot, but like no shot, you know? So I was like, okay, I got to think of another way. Like, there's got to be another way to stand out and like, I don't know,
be
happy, you know, like actually enjoy your time here and like feel like you're really, you know, maximizing your platform. I mean, like, I got to stop in the middle and say, I think this is really cool that y'all do this, because like it's really, I don't want to say not popular, but like people don't want to use this platform as much as they really can. And I feel like when you start posting stuff on social media, people are gonna be like, why are they doing so much? Like, why are they, you know, like trying to be different? And like, I don't see it that way. I'm like, dude, you've got something crazy here that if you're not utilizing it, you're crazy. Like, you're actually a crazy person if you're not saying, okay, all these eyes could be on me trying to pursue something that I'm interested in. Mm-hmm. So for y'all to be doing something like this, I think that's really cool as athletes. So commend y'all for that.
Appreciate it.
Back to what I don't know, what was I?
Videos, posting.
Yeah. So I just decided, all right, I'm going to start doing this, whatever. And when I did, I was like, all right, like this is either going to go really well or really bad, because like I'm just randomly up and start singing. That's not like a normal thing. It's just not like I'm not like. I'm not like delusional. Like, I understand how like weird that could probably look on the onset of it. Yeah.
Did your teammates know that you had musical talent?
No.
Zero.
Nobody knew.
Really?
None of it. I literally posted a video, and then everybody, I know it got sent around. I'm sure it got sent around.
Why was that something you hadn't shared with them yet? Or just never came up?
That just doesn't come up. Okay. Like, that just doesn't like,
that's
just not like real life. Like, oh guys, like, guess what? Like, I could sing. Like, you know, I mean, that's not like a,
you're in the locker room and a song comes on, you start singing. They're like, hold up.
Yeah, no.
Only in Clover, South Carolina.
Yeah. In Clover, I'm sitting there screaming it. But no, I mean, most of my teammates thought like, okay, this is like, was he lip syncing? I mean, it's just fake. Like, or like, what is going on? Probably, I mean, and it ended up, you know, it started to catch a little bit of traction. And initially, I didn't want to even put that I had anything to do with Clemson on there because I wanted to see, okay, are people going to like my stuff because I'm an athlete doing it? Or are people going to like my stuff because I'm good at it? And so until I got to like a little over like 35,000 on there, there was no Clemson affiliation at all. I wasn't like trying to hide it. Like I think it was in my bio that I was like a Clemson receiver, but like I wasn't posting how I kind of do now with like a Clemson paw in the background of my videos or whatever. But yeah, I mean, initially I was pretty nervous a little bit to see how people were going to react. But I was like, I mean, this is something that I want to do. I want to be an artist. Like you got to sing. I mean, that's what you're going to do when you eventually put music out. You're hoping that the world hears it. And so I was like, all right, this is what I got to start doing. Started doing it. And had some videos do well, but I didn't really have a video do like crazy. I don't want to say crazy viral, but like two. I think I got like 1.9 million or something when I did it in front of the coaches.
It's kind of crazy viral.
That's not bad. None of my videos have ever gotten anything like that. So,
but we ended up having like a meeting over there with the entire staff. I was just speaking on behalf of Paul Journey since I'm an ambassador for that, and I'm just like really heavily involved. So I was saying how it's like positively impacted my life, and I ended up saying something about how I've used their like coaching or whatever to kind of launch my own little thing and that I sing or whatever. And then apparently Coach Swinney had seen the videos already from Clay. He's obviously a receiver with me and we're friends. But apparently he had showed it to him. And so Swinney kind of like put me on the spot right there. And I was like, all right, like, this is not the crap.
Right place, right time.
Wrong place, wrong time, I felt. Because Paul Journey had been like, you should totally sing in front of them today. And I was like, no, what? This is not the group of people that you sing in front of. This is like coaches that are like football minded. Like this is not the right time to do this. But he put me on the spot and I had a mic in my hand. So I was like,
so what did you sing?
I'm on the spot. Yeah, I sang Tennessee Whiskey because everybody likes that song. I'm not a huge country guy, but like, I mean, come on, like everybody likes that song.
You knew your crowd.
And yeah, I knew the crowd exactly. I was like, all right, it's, you know. So I ended up doing that, and I got the video from Grish. Thankfully, Coach Grisham took a video of that. Shout out Grish. I cut it up a little bit to like zoom in on people's faces and stuff, and I posted it, and it went pretty quickly. ESPN wanted to get a hold of it. I was sitting in the bistro in there in like our little cafeteria or whatever in the facility. And my back was turned to the huge TV behind me. And Ryan, one of the trainers, was like, look, you're on the TV. And I turned around and I was like, oh, this is crazy. Whatever. I was trying to like play it down. But I was like, yo, like I'm on SportsCenter. Cool. That's pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Like for my singing. Like it, and I felt that was really cool to me because like, I don't know, this is what I wanted to do. So I felt like I tried to run with that, and I ended up pitching to Jordan Sorrells over there, who's mainly with recruiting, but, you know, just on staff in the building. I was like, you know, I'd really love to sing the national anthem before a game. Like if I had one thing I could do this year, like I'd really, really love to do that. And he was like, okay, let me see if I can make that happen. And I was like, I kind of didn't think about it for a while. That was in fall camp, and I was hurt and whatever. And he comes up to me a few days later. He's like, all right, yeah, you're good to go. I talked to everybody like it's set. And I was like, really? That's pretty awesome. And so I'd known about it since fall camp, which is like August or whatever, that I was going to do it for military appreciation. And so I don't think like it was like promoted or anything, which I think kind of made it a little bit better because like it was kind of like nobody knew it was going to happen. And so when I went out there and did it, I think I'm the first person to ever do that. I don't think anyone's ever done it. I know... At least at this level, I'm sure people have done it in high school, and like I don't know. At least at this high of a level of football, I don't think anybody's ever done it. And so that was kind of like for me personally, that'd be really cool to be one of the first. But yeah, I mean, like it was a huge honor to do that. I really don't have many words for it other than like I'm so appreciative that they let me do that and trusted me to do that. I mean, I don't know. Like I could have been like faking online. Like what if I went out there? And just like totally botched it? Like that'd be really bad. But they trusted me to do that, and luckily I think I did pretty well. And so
Killed it.
Reviews are good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I mean, it was a crazy moment, and they got a really cool picture. I don't normally like, but it was a really cool picture. I was like holding up my helmet or something. I was like, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But, like I've been working out a little bit, and my arm kind of looked a little bit good, and I was like, this is awesome, man. It's like I'm holding a helmet in one hand and a microphone in the other. Like that's like perfect for my brand. You know, that's awesome, and just like. I don't know. It couldn't have gone any better than it did, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Such a cool moment.
Really cool.
Can we talk about your TikTok that went viral with John Legend?
Yeah, so I covered one of his songs,
Which song?
one of his old songs, "Ordinary People," and this was at the time when I wasn't using like any sort of Clemson promotion or whatever, and I hadn't had a video do crazy well. I think there's a possibility I had one video get to 1 million. I think I did a cover of Dive, Ed Sheeran, but Luke Combs had covered it at the time, and like so it was kind of a trending song, so I kind of hit it like right at the perfect time. But I ended up covering one of John Legend's, and I'm like holding like a can or something. I'm doing. If you didn't know me, you'd be like, "Yo, what does this kid do?" like honestly, I kind of get it. I kind of understand. But I was like singing into the can, like it was of LaCroix. It was like a lime. It was like
Is that your favorite flavor?
it was actually key lime, which is my favorite.
That's a really
Yeah.
good flavor.
It's
Yeah.
a really good flavor. And I was just kind of singing into it like a microphone or whatever. And then I was just like at skills and drills or whatever. I couldn't actually practice because my leg was still hurt. I was rehabbing. And I got like a notification on my phone. It was like, John Legend duetted your video. I thought it was like a fake account. Or whatever. And I was like, that's cool or whatever. And I looked at it, and he kind of like pops out of nowhere, and he has his own can, and he's like singing into it or whatever. And I was like, all right, that's pretty cool.
It's him.
Like,
Like, no way.
yeah, that was pretty cool. And I mean, I liked John Legend a lot growing up, like listening to his music, and so that was really cool to like, I don't know. I feel like we're like boys now, but
Yeah.
like he doesn't really know it. Like it's not like on his day to day, but like it's
You know
it's
it.
You've had
kinda
a
on
moment,
mine.
yeah.
Yeah.
We should have tagged him in the podcast. when stuff
Yeah,
comes out.
we should absolutely
Yeah.
do that and just see what he thinks. You know, I mean, really appreciative of I really appreciate what you've done in the music industry, John Legend. Thank you so much.
It's funny we bring that up because this summer, my sister and I were in California. We were in San Diego, and we were just walking along a pier. And I guess there's like an outdoor concert venue in San Diego. And we were like, oh, I wonder what like all these people are coming to like this venue for. It was a John Legend concert. And you could, like anyone in the public, you could pretty much like sit on the pier and just listen to his entire concert. And I was so like impressed and captivated. He doesn't sing obviously like the entire time, but also the way that he tells stories and kind of goes back into his life was incredible. I think he's truly a legend. Deserves a lot more credit than I think some people give him, but he is a fantastic artist. So I think
Yeah, and his last name is Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like
come on.
already written in his
Right. It
desk.
doesn't get any better.
So you said that you haven't been to a concert. If you could go to a concert, is there anyone in particular that you'd want to go to?
Besides John Legend.
Yeah, of course.
That's so tough. Well, I don't know if I was completely honest. I've been to like a festival, and it was actually my last birthday over here in Greenville, and like the main act was Khalid.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the only thing I've ever been to though. I always told myself like, I want my first concert to be my own, but like
That'd be really cool.
On my birthday,
That's what you were gonna say.
Yeah.
on my birthday, they were like, "Hey, come to this," and I was like, "Okay." Like, okay.
Yeah.
But God, I mean, I don't know. I think I really wanted to go to a Chris Brown concert.
I have been.
How was it?
He's a really good dancer. I feel like people have definitely
Yeah.
seen YouTube videos of him dancing. I think a lot of it, I'm sure he won't listen or watch this, but I think a lot of it is more like auto-tune, just like his music playing in the background that every now and then he'll
He's dancing,
Yeah,
singing
he'll pop
along
in.
to it.
but
Sure, it's
I would
great
say like
entertainment.
yeah, but I'd say from an
Yeah.
entertainment perspective, it's great.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say he sings the entire time, but it was a good experience.
I feel like if you're a dancer though, like at his level, because he's like a top notch
Right.
dancer, I
Yeah.
feel like you kind of have to have a backtrack.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just think he makes really great music. It'd be really fun. Like it'd be like a crazy atmosphere probably.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
When
What
it
about you
comes
guys?
to
I don't know. I've been to a few concerts. My favorite Megan and I this past a year ago, we went to SZA, which was unbelievable.
She was amazing.
And my first concert that I went to was Bruno Mars when I was like 8.
I've heard he's really good.
Yeah,
oh my gosh, amazing.
I definitely want to go see him because his singing is probably crazy.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was worried about though, going to concerts. Like I didn't want to go and then them not be as good
Yeah.
live and then be like,
gosh.
dang, man.
Let down.
But I don't know. I should probably be a little bit more open.
I've been to 2 Beyonce concerts.
Oh my
and
gosh.
they did not disappoint.
They didn't disappoint.
Incredible shows.
Yeah.
But I also want to see Chris Stapleton. So you said Tennessee Whiskey earlier. I think he would be a good, like, chill vibe, good music.
Yeah.
He can sing anything.
Yeah.
I mean, he's incredible.
Yeah.
Makes anything sound good.
Transitioning a little bit, could you talk about your relationship that you have with your sister?
Yeah, I mean, my sister and I are we're like best friends, honestly.
Cool.
And if she ever sees this for whatever reason, I didn't say that, but we're
Don't give her that much credit.
we're 2 years apart. We've been with each other ever since I could remember, and obviously you've got your growing pains, like little brother, big sister, and whatever.
I have a little brother, so.
Yeah,
I
and
can
so
relate.
I mean, we have
I feel
our
your sister.
yeah, we have our differences, but I mean, we'll be best friends forever, and I know that, and I really appreciate the relationship that we have. Really, my entire family. My dad passed away when we were a lot younger. I think I was 10, so she must have been 12. And that was really tough. Like that was a time where my mom's a single mother, and we kind of all have to come together. And that was a time when I really realized. I think my mom, she's a superintendent now at Clover School District, but she's always worked in education. She was a teacher first, then got into administration. And during that time, I mean, it was pretty tough for us as a family. It got to the point where she was working like 3 or 4 jobs so we could, still maintain everything that we had before, while she was also working on her doctorate. She ended up getting her doctorate in like 5 months or something crazy.
Superwoman.
The respect that I have for my mom is like, yeah, I mean, she's
awesome.
She's incredible. I don't even know how she does it. But she kind of like bossed up a little bit, and she just continued to, pursue excellence every day, and ended up, being the superintendent of the entire school district, like big boss CEO, and like in her lane, which is, I mean, like as a guy that is good, like watches that, maybe that's where I get my like hard work, and like I'm not gonna take no for an answer, and I'm gonna keep working overtime, and I'd be remiss if I did not credit my stepdad as well, who came in at a time where my family was like super vulnerable. And has been nothing but, like the angel that we needed at the time. I mean, truly, he's everything that you could ever ask for in a father. And so to be able to look up to him as well, he's a grinder too. I mean, he's given everything that he possibly can. He has no other children. My mom is his first wife and everything. And so for him to give all that he does to our family, and us not actually like technically be his children, is inspiring to me as a kid who needed a father. But there's no question in my mind that like he sees us as his own, and I see him as a father as well. Yeah. I mean, there's no disconnect. We're really close as a family. We're really tight knit. We support each other, and we all have a really great relationship. And it doesn't go that way for everybody. So I know how lucky I am to have something like that.
Yeah.
In your story, you write about the letter that you wrote yourself in 5th grade. What would you tell that 5th grader now, going through all these crazy experiences? What would you tell him?
I'm the type of person that, like, as many bad things that can happen, like I don't ever start blaming God or start blaming. I'm never like, why would you do this to me or whatever. I'm just like, okay, this is really bad right now, but like it's gonna be okay. It's all gonna be all right. Just like as long as you keep pushing. Like if you quit with whatever you're doing, like it's not gonna work. I mean, I'm very like adamant about that. I mean, you got to work for what you want, or else you're not gonna get it. And so I would just say, keep doing what you're doing. I mean, you're going to make mistakes along the way. Not everything's going to be perfect. You're going to have to learn a lot of stuff, but I mean, and there's going to be a ton of lessons that that are going to be vital to where you want to get to be. You're going to have to learn a lot of things and go through a lot of things. And just keep pushing, keep doing what you're doing, stay positive, keep thinking that everything's going to be all right, because it is at the end of the day. It's all in the greater good.
It's a really cool perspective. Kind of going back to what we talked about a little bit earlier in the concerts, what are your top 3 artists? Who's on the Spotify rotation for you?
See, I listen to it like a lot of R&B. Like that. That's kind of like my background. The first song I ever remember even listening to back when you had to like a league.
Oh, nope.
When you had to burn the mixtapes off of the computer or
pay $1.29. Was it $1.29 for?
No, this is before that. I'm talking about when you had to get it off, like you had to burn it onto a CD. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And you had like your Sharpie marker, like writing out the songs.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. It was that Neo album that had like Sexy Love and So Sick. Like that's when I was sick. Like, I grew up on that. And then like some of the John Legend stuff, and like, but that's kind of was like my first listen of anything. That's the first thing I remember listening to. So that kind of carries modern day of that. Probably be like Frank Ocean, probably like Giveon, Daniel Caesar. Yeah. But I mean, I love SZA to an extent. I like, like I said, Chris Brown. I don't know. There's so many because it just depends on my mood. Like in 2020, if you would ask me, I love country music. I don't know. I really liked it that year. I haven't listened to country music probably since 2021. It's just it's not that I don't know. It just depends on whatever mood I'm in. But I mean, there's so many great artists. I feel like I left some people out. I don't know. I mean, everyone brings something different to the table. If I remember one later in this podcast, I'll just like randomly shout it out and be like, oh yeah. But that's probably the main.
Well, that's the cool thing about music too, is that so many people can, but it's still an admirable skill. Like not everyone can sing, but so many different individuals are bringing their story, their influence, even talking about sharing songs with people. Like that's a special gift you can give somebody, is like, I thought of you with that song. Yeah. I think that's where music is cool. It brings people together in different vibe. Like there's songs that you might think of when you're sad, and there's songs that you go to when you need to hype up and when you're celebrating. And so it's cool that you have a connection to music through that way too.
Do you have any songs of your own?
I have 2 right now that I've written. I am in like a whole process right now. The process that's actually pretty crazy, and the way that I'm doing it, I got pretty lucky to meet this guy named Blake Prohl, who was a receiver at the Vikings, but ended up transitioning into being an artist. Like just recently, he tore his ACL. And started making music, I think like a few years ago. But he did initially like Christian music, worship music or whatever. And he ended up hitting it pretty big with one of his songs with Maverick City, which is like the top, I'm pretty sure the top like Christian music like band or whatever in the entire industry, to the point where he could retire from the league and like completely pursue that. And so I saw that a little bit after I started creating content or whatever online. I was like, oh, I'm pretty similar to this guy. So I reached out to him and ended up now working with the same producer that he's working with, who's out of Minnesota, but who has access when it comes to mastering with like one of the top mastering engineers in the entire industry, who masters for like, I mean, name the art. He did SZA's album. He did that whole new album. He did Justin Bieber. He does Harry Styles. I mean, he does Chris Brown. I love Chris Brown. I really think he's great. But I mean, like, I'll end up, whenever it's time to go send it off to get mastered, like have access to him because of who I'm working with. They're like longtime best friends or something like that. But I mean, that's pretty awesome. Like initially, so what'll end up happening is he's out of Minnesota, I'm here, so we'll have like online studio sessions where we'll kind of create a like a skeleton of an instrumental beat or whatever. I'll take it and go right to it, and then we come back, and then we just keep building onto the instrumental from there. And so the first song I wrote, I think I wrote it in like 30 minutes in the Chick-fil-A line, because the Chick-fil-A line was taking a little bit too long. And I feel like the second song I wrote in like a pretty short amount of time too. And once you like once it clicks for you, like when you're listening to it and it's like, all right, boom, like you get on a roll, it's pretty, easy to keep going. I'm gonna say that, and if y'all think my songs are terrible, then okay, maybe I should have spent a little bit more time. But I mean, I think I'm pretty skilled at it. I guess I wouldn't know otherwise, other than like what I've listened to before. But I'm really excited. I'm flying out there this month to go and do the official recording. I actually utilized the cab over there to do all the demo recordings on like this mic, actually. And that's kind of what we've been working with until we go out and actually, he has all like the crazy tools and stuff to, like make a really, really good record. And so, I think the first single should be around May, because you have to, once you get it recorded, then it has to get mixed, which takes like 36 hours of work time on his end. Sends it off to get mastered, which like I don't know really what that means, but it takes it to a different level. I don't ask me, because I asked him, I was like, okay, but what does that mean though? He's like,
it just happens.
Really. But once you get that back, you submit it to like Spotify, Apple Music early, because you want to try to get it to land on playlists. Which like as a new artist, like no one's going to be like searching your name. So you want to try and land on one of those, like sneak into one of those. And if they're on a playlist, like, oh, what is this song? Like I'll add that. And so you submit it like 6 to 8 weeks early, so that process can happen. They'll like scan it, I think, and see if it fits on anything. And then it should be good to go. I've probably a lot more to it than that. I don't really know. I'm kind of learning as I go. And so, but I'm really excited, because like this will be the first year for sure that I officially become an artist, which is like really cool.
Yeah.
It's something that I always wanted, and kind of scary, because I'm going to stay here another year and get my master's. But like that buffer time of how long, I hope I can turn a profit on this and like actually do this for a living, because like I really don't want to do anything else. I have the capability. I'm a really good student, but I don't really want to. Like I'm really, really set on like, this is what I want to do. So, hopefully we can make that happen, make my mom feel a little bit more sense of security, because she's investing in my college, and she's like, you need to get a job. Like I'm not, when you're out of school, like that's it. Like you need to, my sister's experiencing that right now. And I don't know, I really hope I can make it happen, but I'm super excited. I think people will really like it. Me saying that, I really think so. So I hope y'all do.
It's so cool. You give such a great story. You're chasing your dreams, and you've been doing that since you were little, and you achieve your dreams. So I don't know. I think you got a pretty good shot.
Yeah.
I'll be listening.
Same.
For sure. You talked a little bit about getting a job and how your sister's going through that. You've done internships, micro internships with Adobe and The Late Show. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so The Late Show was 2 years ago. And actually that trip was kind of crazy, because Stephen Colbert ended up getting COVID like the first or second day I was there. And so what ended up happening is I got to go spend a little time watching The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. They kind of like were bouncing me around the city, like trying to get me some activities, because everything kind of didn't go out the window. I still experienced so many really cool things and got to meet a bunch of awesome people, but it didn't go how they thought it was going to go. But we ended up getting to talk to Stephen Colbert on a Zoom call, to where I got to talk to him like personally a little bit, which is really, really cool. And on that, you kind of got to see like behind the scenes of like how a show is run. All the like little parts they go into, like it's kind of like a assembly line a little bit, of like okay, this needs to happen, this needs to be placed right here, and like this needs to be here at this exact time, and like make sure to turn the water bottles around, or they don't have any labels on it because there's no free branding, and like this guest really likes this or whatever, so make sure they have that there. And like there's a bunch of little things that like you don't really ever see that are all behind the scenes, which was really, really cool to see. And then with Adobe was a really good time. I got to spend a lot of time with some teammates that I didn't really spend a lot of time with before, and got to really like kind of pick their brain a little bit and meet them and like chop it up with them or whatever. And that was really cool. But also just like seeing that was more like sales. Like you got to like sit with people and like watch them do their job pretty much. And like, I mean, it seemed like a pretty cool spot. I mean, they're up in a really tall building in New York City. I mean, like coming out of college, making like 6 figures, I mean, that doesn't sound that bad. I kind of want to sing instead, but like, I mean, that wouldn't be that bad,
right? You can have a backup plan.
Yeah.
It's okay to have.
But
But you got a first plan. That could be like plan C, D. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it was those type of experiences, I think, is like I was a part of a really good program before this at Furman, and like, but they don't have the resources that we have. And like, that's what I immediately recognized when I first got here was like, I got to utilize all this stuff. Like, that's why I was so involved initially. Other than me trying to make a name for myself, I was like, this is like really good stuff. Like if people didn't know that this didn't exist other places, like maybe they'd utilize it more. And I'm not saying the guys don't. I mean, we have a ton of guys utilize all the stuff over there. But I mean, to have that in a place like for free is crazy. And so I was like, yeah, I'm definitely gonna exhaust all of every bit that I can out of it.
Yeah, I think we're super lucky here at Clemson. We have so many resources that we sometimes don't even know about. And I know even some of my teammates still don't know a lot about. And I think we need to do a better job as leaders on our teams of letting people know about all these things. Because like you said, you're crazy if you're not using the resources that we have, because you could brand yourself. You can get whatever job you want to with all the resources that we have here. And I think we take it for granted sometimes. So shout out to Clemson for that, because they really set us up for success for sure.
100%.
Well, Blackmon, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah. Appreciate y'all having me.
Yeah. Thank you. Good luck. You're gonna crush it.
Yeah.
We know it.
We'll be
Catch
listening.
you on Spotify.
Yeah. Can you quickly drop where we can all find you?
Yeah. Social media.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It should be.
Don't give us your address or anything.
I was about to say, I don't know what you're talking about. No, it should be Blackmon Huck everywhere. BLACKMONHUCK. Some people put MA in. That's not correct. And it's just Blackmon. It's not like Blackmon or like
Blackmon.
It's just Blackmon.
We got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your story.
Guys.
Awesome.